what if a black hole replaced the sun? Would we survive the ultimate cosmic vacuum? Have you ever wondered what would happen if the sun, our life-giving ball of light, was suddenly swapped out with something as terrifying as a black hole? It sounds like the kind of cosmic horror you'd only find in sci-fi movies, right? Well, let's break it down, because this scenario might not be exactly what you think. There's a lot more to it than just doom and destruction, but don't get too comfortable. It's still pretty chilling. Okay, so picture this. One day, out of nowhere, the sun just disappears, and in its place, a black hole appears. Now, I know what you're thinking. Total chaos. The Earth getting sucked in like dust into a vacuum cleaner, and life ending in a blink. But here's where things get interesting. If the black hole that replaced the sun had the exact same mass as the sun, which is a pretty important part of this whole thought experiment, the Earth's orbit wouldn't actually change. That's because gravity is all about mass, not what's inside that mass. So, weirdly enough, we wouldn't be immediately ripped from our cozy spot in space and flung into some cosmic abyss. Earth would keep orbiting the black hole just like it orbits the sun right now. It's kind of like if you swapped out a car's engine but kept the same tires. Things keep rolling for a while. But that's where the good news ends. Let's get real. Losing the sun is not exactly a minor inconvenience. The sun gives us light, warmth, and energy. So while the black hole wouldn't immediately yank us into a black void, we'd still be facing some serious problems. Imagine waking up to total darkness. And I don't mean winter is coming darkness. I mean real darkness, forever. Within just a few days, the temperatures on Earth would drop drastically. We're talking about freezing cold, far beyond what any winter on Earth has ever thrown at us. Within the first week, temperatures would to below 70 degrees Celsius, 94 fairly. To put that into perspective, the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth was -128.6 degrees Fahrenheit in Antarctica, and we're talking way colder than that. You'd need more than just a thick coat or a cozy blanket to survive this kind of cold. No sunlight means no heat, and no heat means, well, everything freezes. Imagine ice stretching across the globe, covering cities, forests, and oceans. Without the sun's warmth, the Earth would become an icy, uninhabitable wasteland. And we haven't even gotten to the food problem yet. You see, plants need sunlight to survive. Without it, photosynthesis stops. And when plants stop making food, the entire food chain breaks down. Animals would start dying off because they can't find anything to eat. And guess who relies on plants and animals for food? Yep, us. So not only would we be freezing, but we'd also be starving. Yikes. Now you might be thinking, okay, we're doomed. There's no way we can survive this. And honestly, it would be a huge challenge. But let's think outside the box for a second. What could we do to survive, even in this dark, cold world? One option might be to go underground. Deep below the surface of the Earth, there's geothermal heat, which comes from the Earth's core. If we built underground cities, we could potentially tap into that heat to keep ourselves warm. Imagine living in a high-tech cave, using the Earth's natural warmth to survive. Sure, it wouldn't be ideal, but it's a possibility. Another option could be finding new sources of energy. Maybe humanity would finally get serious about nuclear fusion, or we'd perfect solar power. Even if there's no sun, we might figure out how to generate light from other sources. In any case, we'd need to get creative if we wanted to stick around. Now, let's not forget about the oceans. Without the sun, the surface of the oceans would freeze over. But interestingly enough, the deeper parts of the oceans might stay liquid for a while because of the heat from the Earth's core. So while the surface would be covered in ice, some of the ocean life might survive beneath the ice caps. For a time, at least. It wouldn't last forever, but it's a cool, pun intended, thought to consider that life might still hang on down there for a little while. But even with all this ingenuity, we'd still be facing a harsh reality. Earth, as we know it, would never be the same. And while we might survive for a while underground or using alternative energy sources, long-term survival would be a serious challenge. The black hole wouldn't actually swallow us up, but the lack of sunlight would turn Earth into a frozen, lifeless shell. And let's be honest, living underground or relying on minimal energy sources isn't exactly the paradise we're used to. And let's not forget about space exploration. Without the sun, our solar system would look very different. Planets like Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn would also be affected by the lack of sunlight, turning cold and lifeless. That Mars colony we keep talking about? It might not be such a great backup plan anymore. But hey, maybe there's a silver lining. Without the sun's light, we'd get an amazing view of the stars. Imagine looking up at the sky and seeing the entire galaxy without any interference. It might be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, before you freeze, that is. In the end, while Earth wouldn't immediately get sucked into the black hole, the effects of losing the sun would be catastrophic. It's a pretty wild thought experiment that makes us realize just how important that big ball of fire in the sky really is. So the next time you step outside and feel the warmth of the sun on your face, be thankful. Things could be a lot worse. Thanks for joining me on this journey through one of the universe's craziest what-if scenarios. Let's just hope we never have to deal with a real-life black hole swap.